Well, it's 1 week until we have Mom's memorial service. We're having a celebration of life, gathering for our close friends and family, and I really feel unprepared. I'm anxious, I'm nervous, and very, very unprepared because there's so much I want to say. It's not that I'm worried about doing things the right way or pleasing any certain person or anything like that. I think what I'm anxious about is, I guess I just want to share what I've learned from Mom's life and from our relationship. And I want to say everything. That's just what is in my heart. I want people to know. I want people to know the struggles that Mom went through. I want them to know that it wasn't easy for her to raise two kids by herself. Technically, she chose the things that she chose pretty much on her own, but she had help because we were raised at her parents' house, and for the time of, I think I was in 3rd grade when we moved in with her parents, and which actually turned out to be a really good thing for us. Well, for me it was. My grandpa pretty much filled in for the father figure in my life, and I got really close to my grandpa, which was her dad. And so by the time I was 18, we had to leave the farm. The farm got sold. Grandma passed away in 1987, and we lived there for a couple more years because we had to take care of Grandpa. So let's see. I think it was 2 or 3 years that we lived there until Grandpa had several strokes and got to the point where we was really struggling to take care of him and to give him the right kind of care that he needed. So he went to a nursing home, and then we had to move out. So I moved out when I was 18, but overall, that was like the most structured part of my life I ever had. Other than that, from the time I was 18 and on, there was absolutely no structure whatsoever. And actually in my grandparents' house, they didn't really step in, if you want to say that. They didn't take over the parenting role from my mom. They pretty much let her parent us how she wanted, but we could hear the transfer of information, the guidance and things like that. But Mom pretty much, did her own parenting. And it was very unstructured. I didn't have a lot of rules. I didn't have a lot of structure. That's the only thing I can come up with. There was no structure other than I knew I had a place to live. I knew Grandma and Grandpa were there. And, I knew my mom loved us. And I know that she would do anything for us. That was never a question. Because Mom always made sure we had what we needed. That's why she took us to her parents' houses, because she didn't want to fail. She didn't want us to go without, and she knew that it was too much for her to do it on her own without the help of somebody. So it was, it was really tough on both of us, on her and us. When I say us, I mean my sister and I. My dad was not in the picture until I was like 17 or so. I got involved back in his life, but anyway, so I think that getting prepared for her memorial service, her celebration of life, I'm not sure how it's going to go, and I'm not going to try to make everything just right and just so. I'm taking every day at a time as it comes, and I know it's going to be fine because, first of all, God is with us, and second of all, if the same Spirit that raised Jesus lives in us, then Mom is going to be with us too. Her and Jesus. And that's my hope, is that telling her story and my life and my relationship with her is ultimately the goodness and the heart of Jesus when he was with us. It's like a transfer of power. I miss her so bad today. Today's I'm really having a moment with her today. I just wasn't ready for her to leave. And I can imagine that if Jesus was here, and after expressing all of his love and all of his kindness and all of his goodness, how could you not miss him? How could you not want that compassion and mercy from him all the time? Just like Mom, as hard as things were for her, things were difficult for her, but it never stopped her from loving us. It never stopped her from sitting and listening. She would stay up for hours listening to me with my problems, my boo-hoo moments, my whatever, my bad days or whatever. Mom would stay up and listen as long as it took till I got tired. And if she did have bad days, we knew it, but it never stopped her from comforting me or comforting us. My sister and her had a different type of relationship than what we did. Just like everyone will know Jesus in a different way, each of us are going to have our own relationship with God. And whether you know him in the flesh or whether you know him by spirit, I believe that the relationship that you do have right now is meaningful. And the relationship's only going to grow, especially if you desire. If you desire it, it'll grow. But I remember when I was probably kindergarten or first grade. I don't know what, everybody calls their parents different things, their nicknames or whatever. I called my mom Mommy. And I remember asking her, how long am I going to call you Mommy? Is it going to be like when I get big? Do I stop calling you Mommy? Or what age do I have to be when I stop calling you Mommy? And she laughed and said, "You can call me mommy as long as you want." And I was like, oh, because it kind of seems like maybe that was when I realized that I was growing up. And I don't know how I knew that or what I was thinking, but I just remember the feeling that something was going to change when I went from calling her mommy to mom. Because I must have been at an age where I was hearing other kids talk about their parents as mom or dad or mommy or daddy. And I didn't know any different. I just called her mommy all the time. And I just remember questioning her about it and how she thought that was so cute and that I could call her mommy as long as I wanted. And so it's like an intimacy thing. When you're that close to somebody, and I think that's what I'm hoping, in my growth. I'm growing a lot through all this, and it's helping me to understand that intimacy and that closeness, that bond that gets stronger and stronger between us and God, is that there's a time, we just randomly call him God, or just so boldly call him God. But when do we start calling him Father? I think it's when, for me, when I'm at that really, really tender part of myself that I try to hide so well, that I don't need this or I don't need that. I don't need any guidance. But when I'm really lost and I really feel separated and I want my mommy, I think that's when we call God Daddy. I want my daddy too. I want my daddy, I want my mommy. I want to be coddled. And I remember that, just speaking of this makes me remember when Jesus said, "You've been clean just because of the word I've spoken to you." And sometimes if we can't be comforted by somebody's presence or by their flesh, or when my mom can't just reach out and hug me and just say, "It's going to be fine, it's going to be okay, you're a big girl now," whatever those words were, all the comforting words that she spoke to me. Or sometimes she would just give me a hug, and that's all I needed was just a hug. But sometimes when that's not there, the word spoken is comforting enough. That's all you have sometimes is a word. And that could be, "I love you." That could be, "I miss you." That could be, "I'm always going to be with you." And Mom used to say that to me all the time too. And she'd say, "You're not going nowhere without me." Because she just loved being with me and doing things with me, and that's what she'd say a lot. And as a matter of fact, when I was growing up enough to get out of the house and get my license, and talking about moving out, being on my own, she always told me that she said, "You're going to have to buy me a house first, or else you're going to take me with you," And all that came to pass. I did buy a house and gave her a room in it. She had her own bedroom at my house. And I'm blessed that she was able to have that time with me. I know we always do this, and I'm sure we always will, because we don't know the hour or the time of our pass. You know, when it's time for us to go, we don't know that day. But I do sure wish that, or even, I don't even know if I told her enough, you know? I don't know if I told her I was sorry for being a jerk. I was a jerk kind of kid sometimes, because I don't know, I wanted structure, I wanted guidance, and a lot of the time that wasn't her thing. Her thing was to love me. And I really felt a lacking in my life because I didn't have structure around me. I had to search for it. I had to find it. But I guess that was God's plan. You know, I know that was God's plan, because He is my provider and He is my foundation. And sometimes it hurts when we have to be brought back to the truth. You know, the truth is that God is the one who is our structure. He's our foundation. And He'll bring us back to it, whatever it takes. The loss of our loved ones, the loss of friends, the loss of our material things, the loss of our own being and our own structure. He'll take us down to that foundation that He laid down for us. And that's what we got to build off of. And that's some, unless the Lord builds it, I don't want it. Because that foundation will never be shaken. That foundation will never be taken away from us, because we've been inherited that because of the goodness that He has, the goodness in His hands to create us and to give us life and to breathe His Spirit into us. That's so good. So I think I've done enough mush today. I got to do my job, get back to my business, spend more time with my daddy and my mommy. Maybe that's what God meant when, that's why we will leave our mother and father and be married to Him. Maybe that's why He says that. A man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. Maybe He meant human. Maybe He meant humankind. Maybe that's when humankind. That's why we leave our mother and father, our physical mother and father, to be married to our spiritual marriage, whether it's for a man or a woman, husband and bride. God's the bridegroom. He's our bridegroom, and we're His bride. I think that's funny that bridegroom is all one word, isn't it? Isn't bridegroom all one word? Bride and groom. He's both. He's both for us. So for me, He'd be my groom, and for a man, He'd be the bride. That's awesome. Never thought of that until now. But anyway, thanks for listening. This probably would have been one of them days I would call Mom and just talk her ear off. say, Mom, I don't know what it would be like if you weren't here. I told her that not too long ago. And she said, well, I told you I'm not going nowhere without you. And I said, what are you going to do, kill me and take me with you? Just being funny. It wasn't nothing serious, but that was Mom's humor. She liked to be funny. She always liked to make us laugh with something. She was our little golden girl. She always had something to say. Even if it was morbid, she would, woo! She had some variety of humor, let's put it that way. But, yeah, she will definitely be with me always. And you guys have a good day, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.